This is on the My London website, Croydon Advertiser in old money. They're saying Croydon's criminal reputation has been blamed for putting people off nights out. And the council actually got their scrutiny committee to have a look at why people aren't going to Croydon for a night out. Their nighttime economy has risen by just 4% in the last 5 years. So it is a rise, but a lot lower than the average in London at 17% and the UK at 10%. Emma Lindsell, who's the council's Director of Economic Growth, she cited weakness in the borough's nightlife, including inconsistent lighting in the high street, a lack of late-night public transport, vacant shops and litter. She says crime and the perception of crime makes some people feel that they don't want to come for a night out in Croydon. Well, I'll be honest, Emma, you're not selling it.
She's certainly not. But in Croydon's defence, I'll take they have got the Box Park and Fairfield Hall are reopening, which I think they all think is going to be a big deal.
Yeah,
for the
that's been delayed. I think that was supposed to reopen in autumn of this year and it's been put back for about 12 months. It's certainly something that the council are hanging an awful lot of their hopes on. Yeah,
it certainly would seem to. Let's head over now to phone boxes, which seem like a big thing when they arrive. These free phone boxes, but they're causing problems.
Yeah, I think we talked about these when they arrived and then talked about them again when the problems started, which obviously couldn't have been foreseen. This is the East London Advertisers reporting it. Neighbours have claimed victory here, getting rid of these. Well, not getting rid of, but these boxes that people have seen, which are kind of like internet-enabled phone charging services. But crucially, you could make calls from them for free. And people who were particularly attracted by this were drug addicts scoring their fix, as the advertiser says here. Users have been using them to arrange drop-offs with dealers, with addicts gathering around these boxes to pick up their drugs. And obviously, that's not gone down very well with local residents.
And it's not just not gone down well with residents. Also, the Met, they objected. It's not just a bunch of NIMBYs.
No,
the police are
absolutely not. No, the Met actually spent 105 days, around 5 of them in Whitechapel and the surrounding area, and found that they were used during that time for drugs misuse more than 20,000 times, which is quite a figure. A group called the Columbia Road Cartel actually campaigned against these by going around Bethnal Green in September, putting signs on them. I actually saw these. They were quite professional looking, saying crack pickup point and drug dealers only.
No, I was filming them myself out in Columbia Road. I'm familiar with that story. It did seem to have some effect, though. Now, they'll be pleased about that. Now, the other one we're going to turn to now, the Wimbledon Times, and councillors who are not paying their council tax.
Yeah, I mean, this is a kind of hardy perennial. It's an ideal one for this time of year when things are quiet. But, I mean, it's always astonishing, really, that councillors of all people should fail to pay their council tax. And through a Freedom of Information request that the Times submitted here, they found 5 current and 1 former councillor who've been caught short on their payments, Free Labour and Free Conservative. One here, Richard Field, he put it down to a bank error where the payment failed to properly process, which seems like quite an uncommon thing. Somebody else here, Terence Walsh, said, I cannot comment precisely on each of the reminders that you list without looking at my old chequebook stubs as to date. His chequebook stubs. Oh,
I didn't even know they still existed.
No, I didn't. I've got to say, it is a number of years since they had to deal with a chequebook.
Or its stubs. And also, there was one, Marie Hanson, no longer a councillor. She had failed to pay 8 times over a 3-year stretch, and at one point had a court summons for £730.
Yeah, you'd say once was unfortunate. 8 times, you might want to get your finances in a bit more order.
Absolutely. And Leonie Cooper, another one, she's a member of the London Assembly, often appears on here, so she missed out on a payment at one point as well. So
yeah,
you'd have thought it's an obvious thing for councillors to get their house in order.
You'd say that the best you could say is the optics don't look great on this. You know,
absolutely not. Well, look, let's head now. Now, also a hardy perennial about this time of year, usually a bit later on, is the weight loss campaign. This next story is perhaps one of the more unusual weight loss stories you're ever likely to hear.
I've never come across this diet. No, this is in the pages of today's Ham and High. It's a charity fundraiser in Belsize Park. Apparently very keen on the mince pie. His friends apparently noticed last year, this is Padre Howard, known as Pod to his friends, how much of a, quote, mince pie obsessive he is. He said they said I always seem to have a mince pie in my hand, which is odd in itself. So he decided to go from December the 1st right through to Christmas Day itself, eating nothing but but mince pies. He has so far got through 181 at the time of publication, losing £11 in the doing. Initially, he was having 3 square meals of mince pies a day. Now he just snacks whenever he feels like it. So he's just grazing on mince pies throughout the day. He actually went to the doctors beforehand to say, is this a good idea? And they told him to take supplements to make sure he'd be able to take in the increased amount of glucose and would still get vitamins. But he has been warned that on Christmas Day, when he comes to actually have his first meal of his Christmas dinner, he'll probably be sick.